What is up, everybody? It is JT Sports. I am back to you guys with another video. In this video, I want to talk about why I feel Antonio Gibson will break out for the Washington football team in 2021. Antonio Gibson is one of my favorite players in the NFL. The first reason is because he has one of the best thumbnail pictures I think I would ever find, with the grills in his mouth, iced out. Like, this is a dope picture, which makes for an incredible thumbnail, and I am going to be trying to use this thumbnail as many times as possible every time I talk about Washington. The second reason why Antonio Gibson is one of my favorite players in the NFL is because he torches the Dallas Cowboys every time Washington plays against them. And I hate Dallas. I'm pretty sure we all hate Dallas. Their fans are kind of obnoxious. They're always screaming how they're going to win the Super Bowl. They think Dak Prescott is the best thing since sliced bread. And Antonio Gibson, every time he plays Dallas, he always shuts everybody up. His two best games of his rookie season came against the Dallas Cowboys. He had 20 carries each in those games, had 128 rushing yards and a touchdown in one, and 3 touchdowns and 115 rushing yards in another game against Dallas. I guess you can call Antonio Gibson the Dallas Cowboys stoppers because I guess every time he plays against Dallas, he plays his best games. When I look at Antonio Gibson this year, I think he's definitely going to be poised for a breakout season because I feel like Washington kind of underutilized him somewhat last season, because coming out of Memphis, he was like this wide receiver, running back hybrid, and I don't think Washington fully understood how to use him until the later part of the season, because he only had 36 receptions for 247 receiving yards. I've seen a lot of blogs out there and a lot of websites making articles saying they feel Antonio Gibson could be the next coming of Christian McCaffrey, which I understand that because of the skill set that he possesses when it comes to being able to catch the ball. You can line him up out wide in certain formations as another receiver. You can also give him passes out of the backfield. This guy can do it all. On top of that, he is a really great runner. He has 795 rushing yards on 170 carries, 11 touchdowns. He was averaging 4.7 yards per attempt. He's hard to bring down. Antonio Gibson is one of those running backs, like, every time you're bringing them down to the ground, they somehow find a way to fall down for 2 extra yards every single play, which is a really important trait. Now, this year, I think he's going to be even better because Washington now has more playmakers. Last season, he was their second best player on the offense. And oftentimes, it seemed like the defense was just keying in on trying to stop him because of how lackluster the passing attack was at times. So this year now, with Washington probably going to be more balanced, a lot of teams probably just can't focus in on trying to just stop the run and selling out against the run, because if you do that, then you're going to have to worry about Washington beating you over the top down the field using play action, because I feel like Ryan Fitzpatrick is a slight upgrade over Alex Smith. No offense to Alex Smith, but with Ryan Fitzpatrick, you get more big plays out of him compared to Alex Smith, who is pretty much the conservative quarterbacks who just takes a lot of checkdowns and takes what the defense gives them. Antonio Gibson is going to be in for an incredible season this year. I feel like he has Pro Bowl written all over him. He probably could go for over 1,200 rushing yards. Wouldn't be surprised if he amasses 2,000 total yards this year, because I definitely understand the Christian McCaffrey comparisons, because when you look at Christian McCaffrey, no running back in the game right now does what he does on an every down standpoint. Okay, we know how great he is as a running back, but also he's great catching the ball, sort of like another receiver, and that's kind of the skill set that Antonio Gibson has, because he is a wide receiver running back hybrid. At least he was when he was coming out of Memphis. So if Washington's offensive coordinator can find more ways to get him involved in the passing game this year, I definitely feel like that's not only going to help out the Washington offense, but that's definitely going to be another reason why Antonio Gibson can be poised for a breakout year. I plan on drafting Antonio Gibson in all of my fantasy football leagues. And if you're watching this and you are somebody who plays fantasy football, Antonio Gibson should definitely be somebody who is on the top of your draft list because I think a lot of people are kind of underrating him in a sense. Last season, he kind of started off slow because Washington was doing this little running back by committee thing. Middle of the season, Antonio Gibson started to pick up steam. Then the later half of the season, his momentum kind of got stopped a little bit because he missed like a game or two due to an injury. But this year, he's definitely been underrated. I haven't seen him on a lot of top 10 running back lists. So he's probably going to be somebody who you can get in like the 3rd or 4th round. And you can start as your RB2, maybe your flex, depending on what kind of league you play in. If you're playing in PPR, this guy is going to be a monster. I think he's probably going to have like 50 receptions this year, 600, 700 receiving yards. Like, there's so many creative ways that Washington can get him the ball. And it kind of irritated me because I was like, bro, like, you have this guy who coming out of college was like a converted wide receiver to a running back. I would think that you would try to get him a little bit more involved in the passing game because your wide receivers were not all that great. Terry McLaurin was the best receiver on the roster, and then you probably had Logan Thomas at tight end, who is their second best weapon in the passing game. So it kind of really surprised me that Antonio Gibson wasn't utilized more. Put him in the slot or something. Utilize him more. So I definitely feel like if he doesn't end up having the season I feel he should have this year, it's definitely going to be because of the offensive coordinator and Washington not being able to find more ways to get him involved in the passing game per se. Because I just think this is too good of a talent for you not to try to utilize everything that he brings to the table. And if you're a good offensive coordinator, you should be able to find ways to get this guy the ball. Because as a Steelers fan, I would have loved to have him on the Steelers last year. Jesus, man, with all the drops our wide receivers had, I would have loved to have Antonio Gibson on the Steelers. So I'm expecting big things out of Antonio Gibson this year. Don't be surprised if you end up seeing Antonio Gibson becoming a Pro Bowler this year because he has Pro Bowl potential written all over him, especially if he ends up living up to the expectation that a lot of these websites have for him, calling him Christian McCaffrey 2.0. And like I mentioned earlier, I definitely see the comparison. So let me know what you guys think about Antonio Gibson down in the comment section down below. Make sure that you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content. And thanks for watching.